It all started a week before Valentine's Day. That was when I met Johnson. He was different, sweet, caring, and full of attention. He made me feel special, more than my own boyfriend Christian ever did. I didn't know then that everything he was just doing was a trap, a game of revenge. Johnson asked me out for Valentine's Day, but I refused. I gave him an excuse, telling him I would be busy. The truth was, I had already planned to spend my day with Kristen, but because I didn't want to completely turn Johnson down, I suggested we meet on February 13 instead. That's Valentine's Eve. He agreed immediately. I thought I was smart, playing my own little game, but I had no idea I was already caught in something much bigger. I never knew that Johnson had a deep grudge against Kristen. I never knew that I was now trapped between two court boys. That evening, I dressed beautifully and went to see Johnson. We had a good time, laughing, talking, and enjoying ourselves. Everything seemed perfect until his mood suddenly changed. He became cold, distant. "What's wrong?" I asked, confused. He didn't say a word. He just stood up, opened the door, and gestured for me to leave. I was shocked. "Johnson, what's going on?" "Just go," he said in a low voice, his eyes dark and serious. Feeling embarrassed and confused, I picked my bag and left. The night felt strange, but I brushed it off, thinking maybe he just had a bad day. I had no idea what was coming next. The next morning, I woke up excited. It was Valentine's Day, and I was looking forward to my date with Kristen. Around 8 a.m., my phone rang. My heart skipped a beat. I thought it was Johnson calling to apologize for his behavior last night, but when I checked, it was Christian. Smiling, I picked up the call. "Hey babe." "Shut up, Precious," he shouted. My heart dropped. "Christian, what's wrong?" I asked, my hands shaking. "You disgust me. How could you do this to me?" "Do what?" I asked, completely lost. "Check your phone. Watch what your new boyfriend sent me." My hands trembled as I quickly opened my message. The moment I saw the video, my blood ran cold. It was me with Johnson in his room. My head spun. My world crashed. I had been set up. I screamed and dropped my phone. My whole body felt weak. Tears streamed down my face. How could Johnson do this to me? Then, my phone rang again. This time, it was Johnson. My heart pounded. I knew this was just the beginning. I stared at my phone, my hands shaking. Johnson was calling. My mind screamed not to pick up, but my fingers had will of their own. I swiped the screen and placed the phone against my ear. "You bastard!" I screamed before he could say anything. "Why did you do this to me?" A low chuckle came from the other end. "Calm down, Precious. I just want to show you that you are not as smart as you think." Tears burned my eyes. "You used me?" "I didn't use you. I taught you a lesson." Christian thought he could mess with my girl and go free. Now he knows how it feels, Johnson says, his voice sharp and filled with satisfaction. I gasped. "So this was all revenge?" "Exactly," he replied coldly. "And now the real game begins." The call ended before I could respond. I stood frozen, my mind unable to process everything at once. My knees felt weak, and I sank onto my bed. My breathing raged. Then my phone rang again. "Christian." My chest tightened. I hesitated before answering. "Christian, please. Don't say a word," he roared. "You played me, Precious. You betrayed me." "I wasn't like that. I didn't know he was setting me up." I sobbed. "Save your lies." His voice filled with pure rage. "I hope you know what you have done." You don't just cheat on a court boy and walk away freely. What are you saying? I replied. You will find out soon, he said, his voice dangerously calm. The line went dead. My whole body was trembling. My heart pounded against my chest like a hammer. What have I gotten myself into? I tried calling Christian back, but he wasn't answering. I sent messages, no reply. Fear crawled into my bone. I knew Christian well. He wasn't the type to let things go easily, especially when it comes to his pride. And now, I have been caught in the middle of a dangerous war between two court boys. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to run, to hide, but where? Who would protect me? A knock suddenly came at my door. I jumped, my heart raced. Who could it be? Slowly, I walked to the door and peered through the peephole. My blood ran cold. It was Johnson. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Johnson stood there, outside my door, his hand in his pocket, a smirk playing on his lips. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would burst. Should I open the door? Should I pretend I'm not home? Another knock, louder this time. I know you are in there, precious. Johnson's voice came through the door, calm but firm. I hesitated, then slowly unlocked the door and opened it just a little. What do you want? I whispered. He pushed the door open wider and stepped inside like he owned the place. I moved backward. Relax, he said, shutting the door behind him. I'm not here to hurt you. I crossed my arms, trying to hide my fear. Then, why are you here? I said. He leaned against the wall and studied me with those sharp eyes. Christian isn't taking this lightly, precious. He's angry, real angry. I swallowed hard. I know, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Johnson chuckled. No, you don't. Christian isn't just angry, he's out for blood. A cold chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? I mean, he said, stepping closer. He's looking for revenge. And guess what? You are in the middle of it. I shook my head. This is between you and Christine. I had nothing to do with your stupid fight. Johnson raised an eyebrow. Oh, then why did you play both of us? Tears welled in my eyes. I didn't know. I thought I was just having fun. Well, now you are in it, precious, and Christian isn't the type to forgive. I felt dizzy, my legs wobbled, and I sank onto the edge of my bed. Johnson watched me with an amused expression, like he enjoyed seeing me suffer. Here is the thing, he said, crouching to my level. You need protection. Christian would come for me first. He will come for you. I gasped. Me? But why? Because you embarrassed him. You made him look weak, Johnson said, standing up straight, and Christian doesn't like looking weak. I covered my face with my hands. My world was falling apart. What do? I whispered. Simple, Johnson said. Stick with me. I will protect you. I lifted my head, searching his face. Could I really trust him? He extended his hands. What do you say, precious? You are either with me or against me. I hesitated. My mind screamed no, but my heart was too afraid to refuse. Slowly, I reached out and took his hand. The moment I did, I knew there was no turning back. The moment my hand touched Johnson's, a strange feeling crawled over me, like I had just signed a deal with the devil. His smile widened as he squeezed my fingers lightly. Then let's go. Smart choice, he said, stepping back. You will be safe with me as long as you listen. I swallowed hard. Listen to what? He sat on my bed like he owned it and leaned back on his elbows. First, you need to stay away from Christian. No calls, no messages, nothing. Block his number. I hesitated. Do you want to stay alive, precious? His tone was so cold. It sent shiver down to my spine. I quickly nodded and grabbed my phone. With shaky hands, I blocked Christian's number. It felt like I was cutting off a part of my life, but deep down, I knew Christian wasn't the same guy I had fallen for. Not anymore. Johnson watched me, satisfied. Second, you need to be careful where you go. Christian's boys are watching. My stomach twisted. Watching me? Why? You still don't get it, do you? To them, you are the reason this whole mess started. They might try to use you to get me. I felt like the walls were closing in. My life had gone from normal to a nightmare in just a few days. So, what do I do now? I whispered. Johnson stood up and walked towards the door. Pack a bag, you are coming with me. I froze. What? You can't stay here. It's not safe, Johnson said. My heart raced. Leave my house? Go with him? That sounded crazy. I can't just disappear. People will ask questions. Johnson chuckled. People? Like who? Your parents who doesn't even check on you. Your friends who only call you when they need something. Trust me, no one will miss you for a few days. His words hit me harder than I wanted to admit. He wasn't wrong. I bite my lips. And where exactly are we going? Johnson's smirk returned. Somewhere safe, but first, I have a little business to take care of. Something about the way he said that made my skin crawl. What kind of business? He opened the door and glanced at me over his shoulder. Just sit tight. Precious, you will find out soon enough. Then he was gone. I stood there, my heart pounding, my mind screaming at me to run, but where will I go? I was already too deep in this mess. With a heavy sigh, I grabbed my bag and started packing. I had no idea that my nightmare was only just beginning. Please like, comment and subscribe so you'll be notified when the part 2 will be uploaded.